6월 한줄입니다. Good afternoon. My name is Sang-min Nam. I'm Director of ESCAP and Mabda Division. Distinguished delegates, participants, welcome to the Asia Pacific commemoration of the 4th International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies. We would like to welcome our on-site guests here at UN Conference Center in Bangkok and also our online participants. Thank you for all joining us today. Just a reminder to our online participants, when you wish to make an intervention, kindly check the raise hand icon, and when the moderator calls you, please take the floor. It's now my pleasure to welcome Ms. Amina Sarsia Ali-Shabana, Executive Secretary of ESCAP, to deliver the welcome remarks. As you know, there is a ASEAN summit being held in Jakarta this week. So because of this ASEAN summit, she was not able to with us today. So we have prepared her video remarks.
I'm also pleased that this fourth anniversary follows the adoption of the Regional Action Program on Air Pollution, or RAPAP, last year. The annual International Day has been instrumental for governments and stakeholders to share their work for clean air and build common expectations of regional cooperation. In turn, the shared expectations were successfully translated into the action program RAPAP. This year's theme is Together for Clean Air, highlighting the need for stronger partnerships. RAPAP is the vehicle to facilitate such stronger partnerships among all stakeholders. I'm encouraged by the increasing action and collaboration among our member states, UN agencies, academia, and research institutions to confront our common challenges. RAPAP also brought together diverse national and regional stakeholders at the high-level forum Clean Air held in Ulaanbaatar in March of the year to further elaborate areas of collaboration. Thus, I sincerely hope that this observance continues to build momentum for urgent action. As defined by RAPAP, we need stronger partnerships for improving existing national air quality standards and sectoral air quality management policies, strengthening air quality monitoring and sharing of open data as the foundation of air quality management, sharing solutions and best practices for multiplier effects across the region, supporting national air quality policies and regulations, and building technical capacities, and strengthening multilateral cooperation to effectively address the transboundary nature of air pollution. As we continue our journey towards clean air, I must renew the call to all of us to take collective action to address climate change. Many of the climate pollutants are air pollutants, and many of the effects of climate change, such as stronger sun and dust storms, lead to poor air quality. There are encouraging signs across our region, including the rapid expansion of electric vehicles, renewable energy, and other clean technologies. Today's commemoration should once again focus our attention and resolve on finding and implementing solutions to achieve clean air and the many co-benefits that can be derived from regional. I wish you successful session. Thank you very much.
Thank you. As you may know that this International Day of Clean Air for Blue Sky was initiated by government of Republic of Korea during the General Assembly in 2019. And since then, ESCAP, UNEP, and the Embassy of Republic of Korea are jointly holding this annual event from 2020. So in this regard, I'm very pleased to invite Mr. Jung-Han Ham, Chargé d'Affaires, Embassy of Republic of Korea in Thailand for his opening and welcoming remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Nam. Good afternoon, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to all of you as we gather here today to celebrate the first International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies. Let me start by expressing my deepest gratitude to all of you for taking part in today's commemoration. This significant occasion serves as a strong reminder of our shared responsibility to tackle the greatest environmental health threat of our time. Especially our sincere thanks go also to distinguished speakers with so much value, sharing perspective and good practice today and at the meetings held on the sidelines of this commemoration. We are very enthusiastic about learning from your noble insight. Excellency, distinguished guests, clean air is not a luxury. It is a fundamental human right. It transcends borders and boundaries, uniting us in our pursuit of better living conditions and improved well-being for present and future generations. Yet we find ourselves facing daunting challenges that demand immediate attention. Air pollution poses a serious threat to human health, to biodiversity as well, and indeed the very ecosystem that sustains life on our planet. About 70% of casualties from exposure to poor quality air are in the Asia-Pacific region. This chilling statistics is an all too clear reminder that the issue cannot be ignored. This year's theme, Together for Clean Air, emphasizes the transformative power of a collaborative efforts to combat air pollution. Our push to reduce air pollutant and leverage investment towards air quality measures and solutions must go beyond national boundaries. And indeed, all stakeholders, government, community, the private sector, and individual all have vital roles to play in this endeavor. It has to be a concerted effort. In this regard, we strongly support the initiatives taken by the United Nations, especially ESCAP's Asia-Pacific Regional Action Program on Air Pollution, and UNEP convened Climate and Clean Air Coalition. We trust this will spur the exchange of knowledge, partnership, and science-based solutions for clean air. Korea is doing its part. The Republic of Korea takes great pride in our technical assistance programs aiming to strengthen the capacity of Asia-Pacific countries for air pollution monitoring and management. To give you one shining instance with ESCAP, the Korean government has installed surface-based spectrometers with 8 countries throughout the region. And it is providing capacity building training on air pollution satellite data processing. And in partnership with UN UNEP, we are sharing our insight gained from experience in integrating air quality management and climate action planning at the city level. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, this year we'll have the privilege of engaging with expert activists and thought leaders from Southeast Asia. So we will learn about the innovative solutions, inspiring success stories, and the power of concerted efforts to translate the vision of clean air for blue skies into a reality. In closing, I'd like to extend my heartfelt thanks to the co-organizers, ESCAP and UNEP, for your continued untiring collaboration. I very much look forward to inspiring discussions and bold commitment in pursuit of a noble goal, shaping a brighter, a cleaner future for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Tam. Now, on behalf of UNEP, I'm pleased to invite the video message from Ms. Inga Anders, Executive Director of UNEP.
soil to trees to water, natural resources have become commodities. But there's one resource that cannot be bought, sold, or hoarded, one that unites all of humanity: air. Air cannot be contained by human boundaries. Dirty air in one city or country becomes dirty air in another. Air pollution is a global concern, which is why this year's International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies calls for a united global action to end air pollution. Everyone has a right to live in a clean and healthy environment, and air pollution violates this right for 99% of the world's population. Air pollution kills, causing millions of premature deaths each year, and air pollution is linked to climate change, as the sources are often the same. So we must cut these sources, replace fossil fuels with renewable energy, reform agriculture to reduce methane and black carbon emissions, and help vulnerable households access clean heating and reduce overburning of waste, and of course, invest in nature to keep cities cool and filter the air. And it can be done. So on the International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies, I call on governments, private sector, and all parties to increase action and investments and work together to beat air pollution.
Thank you. Now, this concludes the opening session. But before we move on to high-level statement section of the event, so we will play a promotion video made by UNEP.
Is there anything we share more intimately with every other being on the planet than air? Yet 99% of us are breathing polluted air. It kills 6.7 million people each year. Air pollution knows no borders. On International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies, we must act. Let's shift to renewable energy, adopt clean cooking, use sustainable building materials, switch to low-emission electric vehicles, walk, cycle, transform the global food system, reduce trash burning. Let's come together to strengthen cooperation, bolster our information, and raise awareness. Let's come together, clean air.
Thank you. Now we are moving on to high-level statement session. So we have a statement from 6 ministers and senior officials and a representative from partner. First, I would like to invite high-level statement prepared by His Excellency Mr. Adrian Bat-Ulji, Minister of Environment and Tourism of Mongolia, who played an instrumental role in adopting our regional action program on air pollution and who also hosted our first high-level forum in March this year.
Үндэсний байгууллагын ерөнхий ассамблеагаас жил бүрийн 9-р сарын 7-ны өдрийг Цэнгэр тэнгэрийн цэвэр агаараа хамгаалах олон улсын тэмдэглэл өдөр болгон цэвэр агаарын төлөө хамтдаа бариандаар 3 дахь жилдээ тэмдэглэж байгаа та бүхэндээ баярын мэндийг хүргье. Өнөөдөр дэлхийд дээрх 10 хүндэтмийн 9 бохирдсан агаараар амьсгалж дэлхийн эрүүл мэндийн байгууллагын агаарын чанарын өдөртөмжөнд дурдсанаар агаарын бохирдлоос үүдэлтэй зүрх судас амьсгалын замын өвчлөөр жил бүр 7 сая хүний нас баралт бүртгэж байна гэсэн харамсалтай баримт мэдээлэлүүд байна. Найробид болсон аль бисны арга хэмжээний үеэр хатагтай Андерсон агаарын чанарыг сайжруулах нь зөвхөн бидний эрүүл мэндийг сайжруулахад тус болоо зогсохгүй, дэлхийн ертөнцийг авахд туслана. Тийм учраас бид бүгд дэлхийн нийтээр нэгдэж амьсгалж байгаараа хамгаалах хандлтаа бодлого үйл ажиллагаа болгон хурах хэрэгтэй гэж хэлсэн байдаг. Монгол улс дэлхийн олон улсын хамтын нийгэмлэгийн өмнө байгууллагын өмнө хүлээсэн үр амлалтаа биелүүлгүүнээс 2023 он сард Нэгдсэн үндэсний байгууллагын Аз намхан далайн эдийн засаг нийгмийн комисстай хамтран агаарын бохирдлын эсрэг Аз намхан далайн бүс нутгийн дээд түвшний уулзалтыг Монгол улсад амжилттай зохион байгуулсан билээ. Энэ дашрамд энэхүү дэд түвшний чуулга улсанд амжилттай зохион байгуулахад дэмжлэг үзүүлэн ажилласан та бүхэнд Монгол Улсын засгийн газрын нэрнээс болон хуваалцаа гүн талархлыг илэрхийлье. Чуулганы үр дүнд агаарын бохирдлын асуудал түүнийг шийдвэрлэх арга замын талаар олон талт хамтын ажиллагааны цар хүрээ улам өргөжин дэлж бүс нутгийн хэмжээнд мэдээлэл зөвлөх, шилдэг туршлага солилцох боломж, нөхцөл бүртгэхийн зэрэгцээ агаарын чанарын менежментийг сайжруулах, санхүүгийн эвсрэг тодорхойлох, Нээлттэй бүс нутгийн флотууд бүс нутгийн гишүүн орнуудын дунд бий болгох, хил давнсан агаарын бохирдлын асуудлыг шийдвэрлэхэд чиглэсэн техникийн хамтын ажиллагааны чиглэлүүдийг тодорхойлсон зэрэг агаарын бохирдлын эсрэг бүс нутгийн үйл ажиллагааны хөтөлбөрийг хэрэгжүүлэх боломж болцоог нэмэгдүүлж чадсан гэж дүгнж байгаа. Энэ бүх үйл ажиллагаа маань Нэгдсэн үндэсний байгууллагын хүрээлэн буй орчны хөтөлбөрөөс цэвэр агаарын төлөв хамтдаа өрөөндөө тэмдэглэн мөрүүлж буй нөхөө өдрийн зорилго ач холбогдол хүний эрүүл мэндийг хамгаалахын тулд агаарын чанарыг сайжруулах хүчин чармайлтан бас нэгэн илрэл юм гэдгийг онцлон хэлмээр байна. Та бүхэнд Цэнхэр тэнгэрт цэвэр агаар олон улсын өдрийн баярын мэнд хүрэхийн хамт цаашдын хамтын ажиллагаанд амжилт хүсье. Баярлалаа.
Thank you. Also, we appreciate the Embassy of Mongolia here for supporting the preparation of this video message. Now, let me turn to Her Excellency Ms. Christine Tilley, Ambassador for Climate Change Australia, for her video message.
Just a few years ago, our larger cities were covered by bushfire smoke. We need to work together on integrated approaches to tackle climate change and air pollution. Today, as we commemorate the 4th International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies, it's a chance for all of us in the Asia and Pacific regions to raise awareness of the urgency, strengthening national action and regional collaboration to improve air quality. We can all take action on air quality for the benefit of our environment, health and well-being. One way is to invest in low emissions technology such as electric vehicles. Australia has recently released a national EV strategy to drive greater EV affordability and access to charging stations. And we're currently developing fuel efficiency standards that will significantly reduce both air pollution and greenhouse gas emissions. On top of that, here in Canberra, Australia's capital city, the local government is promoting active and public transport, with an electric tram providing the backbone of public transport. As more transport is electrified, cyclists, pedestrians and electric scooter riders all benefit from cleaner air. Earlier this year, I was fortunate to visit beautiful Bangkok, one of the biggest cities in Southeast Asia, and it was great to see and experience the steps Thailand is taking towards clean air and reducing greenhouse gas emissions, with the introduction of electric tuk-tuks. Today, I'd like to acknowledge the United Nations Environment Programme and the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific for their contributions to this 4th International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies. Together for Clean Air is not just this year's theme, it's a mindset on how we in the Asia and the Pacific region must collaborate to improve our air quality so we can all benefit.
Thank you. Also appreciate Embassy of Australia for supporting this message. And now I turn on to Her Excellency Ms. Hyun Kim, Ambassador and Deputy Minister for Climate Change, Republic of Korea, for her video message.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to virtually join the Asia-Pacific commemoration of the 4th International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies. I would like to express my heartfelt appreciation to UN ESCAP and UNEP for organizing this meaningful commemorative event today. It has been 4 years since the International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies was proposed by Korea and adopted at the UN General Assembly. The significance of this day is underscored by the fact that 99% of the global population is exposed to polluted air. Some of us in our region breathe cleaner air than 4 years ago, thanks to the concerted efforts at different levels, but we still have a long way to go. Our planet is currently facing the triple crisis: climate change, pollution, and biodiversity loss. This crisis is worsening at a pace faster than before, so there is an urgent need for decisive action. Time is not on our side, and the impacts of this planetary crisis are felt all around the world every day. As the triple crisis tells us, the issue of air pollution is closely intertwined with both climate change and biodiversity loss. In other words, something we do for cleaner air is even more important, as it can also contribute to tackling both climate change and biodiversity loss. Strong climate action and air quality improvement are two sides of the same coin. That is why Korea is accelerating its NDC implementation by taking active measures in energy transition, zero emission vehicle deployment, and many others. Together for Clean Air is the theme for this year's International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies. Together means all of us: governments, international organizations, academia, businesses, and civil society. Individuals from all walks of life are essential stakeholders in making the air cleaner. Together also implies partnership. As partnership involves synergy and cooperation, we are all bound to work closely with each other in ways that create synergy. Ladies and gentlemen, Korea places high priority and importance on addressing air pollution at both national and regional levels, and we are eager for further action and collaboration in this regard. At the national level, Korea is taking the whole of the government approach, as every relevant ministry is involved in implementing the comprehensive plan for fine dust management. Our target is to significantly reduce the annual average concentrations of PM2.5 by 35% until next year compared to the 2016 level. At the regional level, Korea is continuing to monitor and share the real-time data on air pollutants gathered from its geostationary satellite. 8 ESCAP member states are currently participating in our project titled Pan-Asia Partnership for Geospatial Air Pollution Information, and we intend to further expand our project to other ESCAP member states. We are also continuing our support for the Northeast Asia Clean Air Partnership with a view to promoting science-based and policy-oriented cooperation with other Northeast Asian countries. Ladies and gentlemen, over the past 4 years, the International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies has significantly contributed to raising global awareness for the quality of air we breathe every day, and we need to make the most of it. This commemoration we are holding today is a reminder of the importance of taking actions to breathe clean air under the blue skies. Thank you.
Thank you. As you know, the air quality management requires solid data, which is not only from ground station, monitoring station, also from remote sensing. In this regard, I'm very pleased to invite Dr. Gay Jane Perez, Deputy Director General of the Philippine Space Agency, who is virtually joining now, to deliver this high-level statement. floor is yours.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. This week highlights the different initiatives and shared responsibilities in overcoming air pollution as we gather together to discuss the urgent need to improve air quality through the annual International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies. Today, I am honored to speak before you on this important occasion, as this prompts us to work together to tackle air pollution, which is one of the most pressing health concerns globally. We cannot manage what we cannot measure. It is therefore important to know what we're dealing with through a global stocktake on the greenhouse gases and pollutants in the atmosphere, and have the ability to monitor the circulation patterns and understand the dynamics of the system. We also need to identify the sources of emission, quantify the amount of emission from these sources, and be able to track down how such emissions spread around the world. Although there have been regional efforts to measure pollution on site, the problem is global because of the dynamics of the system associated with wind patterns and the rotation of the Earth. In this regard, the use of satellite systems offers unique vantage point that enables comprehensive, continuous monitoring of pollutants in the atmosphere. The problem is not new, and there have been many satellite systems that have been developed primarily to monitor and quantify atmospheric variables that include most of these pollutants. Most of these systems, however, are polar orbiting satellites that normally have poor spatial and temporal coverage. The advent of new geostationary satellite systems like the GeoComSat-2 launched by Korea provides new opportunities to be more effective in monitoring and controlling pollution. GeoComSat-2 and the GEMS instrument provides hourly measurements of around 20 atmospheric variables, including aerosol, ozone, nitrogen dioxide, and sulfur dioxide, and covers Korea and 19 other neighboring countries. With the similar systems around the world, we would be able to monitor air quality at a local, regional, and global levels. The problem is global and therefore requires cooperation from countries around the world. In this regard, there is a need to facilitate access of data, promote data sharing, as well as the sharing of innovative technologies used to extract information from satellite data, including the use of AI and machine learning. There is also a need for global cooperation to enhance capacity building that would facilitate global participation. The Philippine Space Agency, as the lead executing agency of the PAPGA-PPAN in the Philippines, is grateful to ESCAP and NAER for giving us the opportunity to be part of the PAPGA-PPAN project. The record of discussion between PhilSA and COICA was signed last month, jump-starting the implementation of the project in the Philippines that would deploy and operate 4 Pandora instruments at strategically selected sites. PhilSA already began the conduct of trainings this year on the processing of GEMS data and will spearhead succeeding trainings on more advanced topics next year. With this, we look forward to fostering collaboration at the regional level. Thank you very much. Once again, have a pleasant afternoon.
Thank you, Dr. Perez, for making yourself available for this event and then sharing your thoughtful idea on remote sensing data. And then now I would like to invite Mr. John Salt, who is a co-chair of a forum for international cooperation on air pollution. This is a body of a convention on long-range transboundary air pollution, so which is trying to bring regional and sub-regional mechanisms beyond the members of this convention on long-range transboundary air pollutants. So could you play John Salt's message?
Pacific site event at the 4th International Air for Blue Skies. Today, we have also had our own event, and we'd like to share some of the messages with you.
The Clean Air Day is a call for global action. And this year's theme, Together for Clean Air, emphasizes the importance of cooperation and partnership to do that, to clean the air. And through cooperation and partnership, over the last 45 years, the Air Convention has contributed to reduce emissions in our region. As a result, ecosystems are healthier, and we have avoided 600,000 premature deaths annually. And life expectancy has increased by 1 year. A lot has been achieved, but there are challenges ahead in our region, but also beyond.
This is why, in 2021, our convention launched the Forum for International Cooperation on Air Pollution, which aims to provide a forum for mutual learning to help all regions and countries address the threat to human health and ecosystems from air pollution. It also provides a platform for exchange and can be a repository of technical information from our region.
We would like to invite you to join and work with us through the convention's forum and other global initiatives so that we can have an interregional exchange and learn from each other. Mutual aims of tackling air pollution in both. Recognize the many notable initiatives on air pollution in the Asia Pacific region, most recently the Regional Action Program under UNESCO. To working which
You can see this shows a great expectation from other regions on the work that we are going to carry on. And then the last but not least is the speeches from Mr. Jose Fernandez, Undersecretary for Economic Growth, Energy and Environment, US.
On behalf of the United States, it's an honor to join fellow member states to commemorate the 4th International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies. Special thanks to Executive Secretary Alice Jabana for her outstanding leadership, and also to the ESCAP Secretariat for their work in preparing this event. The U.S. remains committed to advancing global action on air pollution, which is a top priority for the Biden-Harris administration. For example, we're funding a project led by Duke University that has established partnerships with universities and NGOs in nearly every country in South and Central Asia. This project builds local capacity to manage air quality and also reduces air pollution. Furthermore, as part of our global climate efforts, we've formed close partnerships with the Global Methane Pledge and the Climate and Clean Air Coalition. We're working with over 150 countries to cut air pollution, including the reduction of methane emissions, which is a potent greenhouse gas and also a critical source of air pollution. Too often, we may see air pollution as a problem that's just too expensive to solve. But in reality, curbing air pollution has massive economic benefits. Since 1970, when the U.S. enacted the Clean Air Act, we've reduced the emissions of the most dangerous pollutants by 78%, while our economy has grown by nearly 300%. During the same period, total private sector jobs increased by 223%. In fact, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency estimates that for every dollar invested in cleaning the air, as much as $90 are returned in improved health and economic productivity. All countries can enjoy similar benefit. We therefore celebrate the recent adoption of the Regional Action Program on air pollution, and we congratulate ESCAP for their excellent leadership on this issue. The U.S. looks forward to collaborating with fellow ESCAP member states to implement the Regional Action Program. And in honor of our continued commitment to the mission of ESCAP, the State Department is working with ESCAP to launch a partnership on a project that's groundbreaking. It's a project that would develop a methodology for improving air quality in airsheds spanning multiple countries. This will serve as a model for further implementation of ESCAP's Regional Action Program. We're also working with partner countries to introduce a resolution at UNEA 6 that will promote regional cooperation to improve air quality, building on the momentum created by ESCAP's Regional Action Program on air pollution. This resolution will call for a global framework for regional bodies to address air pollution. In short, our environmental challenges are great, but I'm optimistic that together we will overcome them. And so on this 4th International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies, let's all pledge to redouble our collective efforts to reduce air pollution.
Thank you. And also, I'm very grateful to colleagues from U.S. Embassy to support this message, and then also to your commitment to support our new project. Thank you. And excellencies and distinguished speakers. So on behalf of ESCAP Secretariat, I would like to really express, I can say that we are very encouraged with this inspiring messages, also stronger commitment from member states and partners. And during this week, we are organizing many events, which are mostly focusing on the goal and policy discussion, but also we are discussing the role of our academic community in order to advance our science-based cooperation. In this spirit, this year, ESCAP has held a competition inviting scholars to submit their proposal for air pollution research. I will now turn over the floor to my colleague, Mr. Matthew Perkins, Economic Affairs Office, to announce the winner of the competition.
Thank you very much, Director Nam, for that introduction. In order to promote the effective use of science for policy development and action on air pollution, ESCAP issued a call for papers for innovative approaches to the use of GEMS, Pandora data, and other innovative data sources to help provide the science to policy forward. I'm very happy to be able to announce today that selected the proposal ITEPA to take forward their research at the urban level, answering just these questions. I'm therefore very happy to introduce our next speaker, Rocha, who will give us a brief presentation on their research and its
Ladies and gentlemen, and Mr. project works with and EFI is a non-profit realize the air emission stories range, and we realize study. For me, it's a great opportunity. Island for the first time. In particular, in the context of the air quality program that is led by the AFD, the French development. The CITEPA is in charge of the air emission inventory development for Chiang-Mai, the national emission inventory and for organization of the. We are also organizing a workshop here in Bangkok about the best practices air emission on the EU. This workshop is supported by the French environmental, the French Foreign Affairs, and the French Embassy. The project idea, it's about, it started with a question, how city has the impact of the policies and related areas. So traditionally, use data like household surveys as input model that as output have mobility. With this information, we apply emissions model to estimate emissions. So this approach, there is limitations as mobility level is updated every 10 years. It's better. 5 to 10 years only, and it's difficult to evaluate the effect of the air quality measures. So the objective of the Green City Big Data project is provide a tool that is based on cell phone data, CDR, for faster update of information. It's capable of estimating mobility-related emissions with spatial and temporal resolution, and it's for the public bodies to easily evaluate the impact of mobility policies and measures on air emissions at local level. So why we use cell phone data? These data are important because they are of the quantity. So there is a representative sample of the total mobility. It's anonymous, so there is no impact the user's privacy. And it's dynamic also, because we have a continuous and high temporal resolution. And finally, it has a lower cost because it's linked with the agreement that we have with the cell phone. We have a pilot project in Colombia, in Cali, a city of Colombia, with 2.5 million inhabitants. We have collaborated with Claro, that's a Mexican cell phone operator, that represents 50% of the market share. So we collected 2 years of data, representing more than 1 million that we have of data. And we have this PhD thesis that is open source and you can read the manuscript. So now for me, the most important part is to these figures shows some results that we reach. Above, you can see in the left figure is the emissions that is geolocated before the COVID lockdown, and in the right you can see during lockdown. So you can see the red spots that is linked to the high emissions, the rush hour, the higher emission. And the figure below, you can see the emissions evolution for different types of pollutants with a resolution of every 50 minutes. So over a week, starting from Monday to Monday. And here you yes, thank you. And you are to showing the hours and the CO2 emissions. Yeah, this perspectives our project here in Thailand in the context of the action program on pollution, and we hope to the emissions that we linked to the emissions and to have air quality emissions that could validate and calibrate the model by using data from network and also data out of plastic and
Thank you, Dr. Rocha. So proposing this research to develop a new tool for assessing air pollution emissions. We look forward to receiving your output from this research. Thank you for joining us. And then also thank you for submitting your proposal. And now we will turn to a statement from user representatives. So here we have about 15 students joining from Stanford International University in Thailand. So we have a request to present the views of youth voices. If you are ready, please.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Paradon Saotongyun. First of all, I would like to say thank you so much for having us here as your representative from Stanford International University. We are honored to deliver our statement regarding the topic of air pollution and our perspective on the matter. The majority of people, especially those who live in developing countries, do not know much about the issue of air pollution as well as its causes and consequences. There are countries in the Asia-Pacific region, such as Thailand, where PM2.5 levels are significantly elevated, and we need to address the underlying causes of the problem. And essentially, people have been suffering a lot from air pollution, but this event, it appears to be a serious matter that people must consider about the issue. Therefore, we are here to convey the message on how we view the issue from the youth representative, specifically focusing on the area of knowledge and information accessing, and our view on how the government and young people can collaborate for the clean air and for the blue sky as a theme for today. And now I would like to pass it on to Ms. Usahem, who raised some questions that we, as global citizens, consider to be important.
Thank you. So as young people, we receive education and training. We understand to some extent about the issues and consequences of air pollution and its impact upon environment and human life. However, there are voices that cannot be heard, who lack awareness and engagement in solving this problem due to the circumstances such as poverty and marginalizations. So, beside the visible causes of air pollution, what are the hidden challenges that set back real solutions? Well, air pollution is hugely affected by agricultural sectors in Asia Pacific as it produces more greenhouse gas such as carbon to the air and specifically from field burning, including the burning of residue of chemical fertilizers that used by farmer. And field burning has negative impact to our environment and our health. It degrades the soil and pollute the air by releasing black carbon to the air that we breathe. So it is very concerning for our health as well. So the question is, do farmers, especially Asia Pacific, have enough access to information and resources to the work field in a manner that does not pollute the air? And how can we, as young people who have been educated as a global citizens, contribute to the resolution of this everyday problem? So it is very essential to think from the perspective of those farmers who most likely have no idea that what they've been doing for years have negative impact on the air pollution and air quality. Or there's a possibility that those farmers may feel disconnected from society existing the margins. Now, I would like to pass it on to Ms. Huhort, who will provide you with an idea on how we view these matters.
Understanding's negative impact on poor air quality reminds us again why this issue is worth the active engagement from everyone. Governments, local NGO, INGO, and IGOs like the United Nations should take the initiative to reach out to farmers and those who lack access to knowledge about this localized, immediate, and tangibly harmful environmental challenge, which is air pollution. A strong emphasis on their role to contribute in maintaining a good air quality and how each of their concerns or suggestions will be taken into consideration are the urgent call for action from the government to communicate clearly. We let them know that their practices in the agricultural sectors matters to all the stakeholders, the economy, and the planet as a whole. In a world where individual action is misconceived as less effective, it is important to bear in mind that big changes start from small acts. We believe that through collaboration and cooperation, progress can be achieved if each of us take action today. Next is Ms. Isarapan, who will brief you on what young people can contribute to the solution of this global challenge.
As what we mentioned, we recognize the urgency of this issue and we are committed to making a difference. Firstly, we believe that the education is the cornerstone of change, and I believe we all have seen the power of knowledge in our own lives. As educated youth, it is our responsibility to extend this privilege to those who lack access to information. We must actively engage with communities, especially farmers in the Asia Pacific region, who are unknowingly contributing to air pollution through agricultural practices like field burning and the use of chemical fertilizers. To address this, we could propose youth-led initiatives aimed at educating and empowering local farmers by providing them with sustainable farming practices such as reducing chemical inputs or alternate energy sources. We can bridge the gap between awareness and action. I want to emphasize that individual actions matter. While it's true that addressing air pollution requires systemic changes, these changes begin with individuals like us. We encourage our fellow youth to take small yet impactful steps in their daily lives, whether it's reducing personal carbon footprints, advocating for sustainable transportation, or supporting eco-friendly initiatives. Every action counts. Thank you so much for your attention, and together we can breathe life into our new world. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for students from Stanford International University. As those staying in Bangkok, we have experienced heavy air pollution from this biomass burning or field burning during last January to May. According to the satellite monitoring fires, there are more than 20,000 fires across Thailand. So highlighting the role of education and youth, also highlighting the importance of actions at the individual level. Thank you again. Also, as you may know, ESCAP's the Center for Agriculture Sustainable Agriculture Mechanization, CSAM, based in Beijing, has been actively working on biomass burning from agriculture sector. So I wish to get your attention and to support to the work of CSAM on managing this air pollution from biomass burning. And then next session, we will have a more technical discussion, which will be led by Mr. Kurt Kerrigan from ESCAP and also Mr. Mushtaq Memon from UNEP. But before that, we will have a very short group photo session. So I would like to invite one from each embassy member state and also those speakers come to here, and we will have a very short group photo. So can I invite one from each embassies or member state, and also those speakers who will be speaking in the next session, please come forward. Thank you.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, my name is Kurt Garrick, and I'm the Chief of Sustainable Urban Development Section for ESCAP in the Environment and Development Division. As you've heard, the theme of Together for Clean Air could not be more pertinent for this region. We've also heard in the example earlier that using information communications technologies and satellite data can support air pollution monitoring to guide policymaking through the use of more innovative and science-based methods. In this regard, with the generous support of the Republic of Korea and in cooperation with several countries across the region, ESCAP has been involved in ambitious work over the past few years to develop tools and data and to build the capacities of countries in Asia to better monitor air pollution and its movement. In this session, I would like to first invite Mr. Karen Wang, the Chief of the Space Applications Section of the ICT and Disaster Risk Reduction Division of ESCAP, to present the work of the project Building the Pan-Asia Partnership for Geospatial Air Pollution Information. This will be followed by presentations from representatives of Laos and Thailand. Mr. Wang, if you would please take the floor.
Thank you, Kurt. Good afternoon, colleagues. I will share my screen. Yeah, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Thank you. My presentation is on these partners in the Pankabi project. Space applications, as you know, no one can deliver alone. We have to work together with our corporate partners. And also we bridge the users and also the service and data providers. So that's why we work with KWAICA, who provides funding and also who provide this Pandora instrument to the pilot countries in this region. We also work with NIER Korea on this technical support and also for this air pollution data applications and interpretation. Right now, we have 8 countries at the current stage who signed this ROD record of this discussion with KWAICA and installed the Pandora instrument. Now we have this first 4 countries, including Indonesia, Mongolia, Philippines, and Thailand, who are working with us and also with NIER on interpretation of GEMS data and provide the policy advice to the government on air pollution monitoring and management. Among these 8 countries, we contact our corporate partners, including 4 from the Space Agency and other 4 from the Environment Ministries. We also work together with a research institute, academia, including several universities in Korea, who has this know-how and algorithm of this Pandora data interpretation and applications for different area of this air pollution monitoring. So you see, this is one we work with Chiang Mai Rajabhat University in Thailand to install this Pandora instrument, and also GSTAR Thailand provide this satellite imageries, satellite data for validation of the remote sensing data. In addition, we also work with the government to support their policy making based on this evidence, such as this Pollution Control Department of Thailand. We work together with GSTAR Thailand to support their decision making. We already, I think, about 20 set of this Pandora has been installed in several countries. In total, 30 Pandora installation sites will be selected in Asia Pacific region. 10 of this 33% of Pandoras are installed by this project. And also this is 9 additional Pandoras in 3 countries is planned by end of this year. That means by end of September 2024. In addition, the Pandora network, so proposed Asian network proposed by NIER, we work together with NASA, who is responsible for calibration, maintenance, and network operation, data mirroring, and also ESA for this software development and calibration. For our countries in Asia, so this is for this use of this Pandora data and network operation and field campaign and training for local operators. So this is whole value chain of this GEMS validation and Pandora Asia network. From 2021 to 2023, we organized, I think, over 8 in-person training and hybrid training together because of this COVID impact. For this users in these 8 countries, mainly from these 4 pilot countries, on use of the GEMS data and calibration of the Pandora instrument. Most recently, we worked together with NIER and 5 Korean universities to have this technical support and in-person training to 6 experts from 4 countries to use this GEMS data, and also for this corrections with Pandora, the corrections of this and validation of the GEMS data with Pandora. A series of training we've organized. For example, early next year, we work with G-Star to organize a 2 weeks training in Thailand for all this target country for this GEMS and Pandora applications. In addition, we organized 1 online training in June this year for this use of the remote sensing data for air pollution management and air pollution. I think 102 participants from Asia Pacific region joined this training. We introduced this the basic concept of the satellite data from level 0 to level 4, and how to visualize the satellite data, how to process the data, and also some introduce of this spaceborne instrument in low Earth orbit satellite and geostationary Earth observation satellite. So this is, I think, very important training. We'll continue to develop this online training and also training material for all the users in Asia and Pacific in collaboration with our partners all over the world. So thank you. This is my short presentation. Thank you.
Check with the technicians if there is sound. I'm seeing a message that there's no sound.
I can hear you now.
Thank you all for joining us. It's my pleasure first to invite Mr. Pakorn Petrayun, the Director of Geoinformatics Product Innovation Office in Thailand's Geoinformatics and Space Development Agency, to make his presentation.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, all state members. So it is my privilege to be here before you to express some of our activity and our experience about remote sensing related to the air pollution. So and I will spend about 7 minutes for the time to show you some of our activity, how to use the space technology to combat with the challenging problem PM 2.5. Next slide, please. So as we already know that in Thailand, in our region, so PM 2.5 is the most air pollution problem in our regions, and it's increased the concentration value in recent year. And also we have the severe problem during the dry season, and mostly between the connection between the winter season to the summer season. And you will see it's a lot of problem in the central part of Thailand and also northern Thailand. And we try to monitor and measuring the level of PM 2.5 and other particles that relate to air pollution by using the satellite data, both near polar orbit and geostationary data. So we monitor this almost near real-time cover for the whole country, and also with cover from our neighboring, our friend, to see the movement of air pollution. And also not only for the PM 2.5 and not only for the hotspot, that's the main problem for the PM 2.5 in our region. But if we want to overcome the problem of air pollution, we have to monitor and we have to understand the whole system of air pollution, all the parameters that influence to the air pollution, both like for agriculture sector, forest sector, and also the weather condition. All of these parameters we have to observe and we have to understand it. And remote sensing, we can do it and we can make it and we can measure it. So when we can measure it, we can manage it. And also because we have the problem we faced with the air pollution long time ago. For PM 2.5, we know like 7 years ago. But the benefit of the satellite that orbit around the Earth like 20 years ago. And then we can track the behavior and phenomena of PM 2.5 and hotspot in our region, track back to the year 2000. And we will understand the behavior of the air pollution, and we will understand the sort of the air pollution. So if we understand the past, we understand the present, then we will see the future, and then we can manage the future with the space technology. And we work with the core or the main national focal point to deal with the air pollution, both from the private sector and government sector, from the natural resource and environment, and from the Ministry of Agriculture. And also we work with the academic area and research center. And also this is for the national level. We also work with the international partner to share the data, share knowledge, and try to study in order to overcome this problem. The example for our working, we developed the burn check, try to control the forest fire or the agriculture burning, try to control the hotspot. And then we working with the public health, Ministry of Public Health, to make people to aware and try to do some activity and manage their activity when they are in the open area. And then we support the US and the NASA Asia AQ campaign, and working with NASA and working with the Republic of Korea, try to understand the air pollution and try to make the modeling to monitor and forecast the air pollution, including not only the PM 2.5, but all the particles that harmful to human, and then we can understand and study it. And lastly, this year, in the summer of this year, in April, our former Prime Minister had a online meeting with the leader from Laos and Myanmar and discuss how to overcome, how to solve the air pollution problem. And he proposed the strategy of a 5 strategy for clear sky strategy. And all of them try to overcome the problem of transparency of air pollution. And one of the strategy is to share the knowledge and share the data, share the information. And in order to cooperate and to overcome the problem. So all the country, all of the 3 countries, Thailand, Laos, and Myanmar agree with this. And Thailand is ready to provide the academic knowledge of the satellite technology and to monitor and to mature and share the knowledge for how to monitor the hotspot, how to monitor the air pollution, particularly for the PM 2.5 in order to overcome the problem. So lastly, I would like to thank you for all the state members and look forward for our cooperation. So, and we commit that we will working and sharing our information to all the stakeholders to overcome the air pollution problem. With our cooperation, with our sharing the important data, benefit data, we believe that people in our region will see the clear blue sky in the near future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Pech Prayun. It's truly impressive to see the volumes of information that are being collected and visualized and how it is all being shared to raise awareness. I would now like to invite Mr. Virasit Pomsuvan, Deputy Director of Remote Sensing and Mapping Division, the Natural Resources and Environment Research Institute, Lao PDR, to make his presentation.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Let me introduce myself. My name is Virasit Pomsuvan. I'm the Deputy Director of Remote Sensing and the Mapping Division. So I'm also the principal of the investigation and of the Pakapi project for the Lao PDR. So today I would like to present about the remote sensing satellite, the beta air pollution monitoring in Lao PDR. And here is the content that we will to talk about. Yes, according to our Ministry of the Natural Resource and Environment, we have is the air for the air pollution monitoring is the one of the mandate of the Montreal Lao PDR. So we use the technology of the space technology for the monitoring air pollution, and also we use the ground station for the monitoring air pollution, and the newly we have the one division that try to develop the technique is like to use the air model for the simulate the air pollution separately in the Lao PDR. Yes, as for the practical is we have some mini practice to detect the air pollution by using the NASA satellite to detect the NO2 and SO2 monitoring in the along lower Mekong country to detect how the air pollution to this the concentration in the Lao PDR. We found that the most of the area is we have a high high concentration of the air pollution in the northern of the area is some most of the in the Luang Prabang province. And here is a small example how we detect the carbon monoxide to along with Commemoration in Luang Prabang. We start by choosing the MELA-2 satellite from the January to the July 2019. Yeah, you see that is a lot of the air pollution in the covers the north of Laos, the PDRs. And here, for example, that we choose the a satellite from to detect the PM 2.5 by extracting the data from the AOT, aerosol optic depth, from using the Google engine. This in case is the even have the waste landfill was burned in the Vientiane capital with you see that we can detect the PM 2.5 that is the cover many area in the Vientiane province. And here this the one of the cooperation with the FAO that we detect the hotspot and the air pollution. We found that the air pollution in Laos is increased from the industrial development and agriculture practice and forest fire. So in the report commitment as the nation action plan to reduce air pollution included data sharing, capacity building, and alternative farming practice. Here for the project, Pakapi project for the Lao PDR, this is the location that we installed the Pandora in the Lao PDR at the Ministry of Natural Resource and Environment. Here is the procedure of how to do Pakati project that and implement in Lao PDR. The first you see that we have to report to the ministry the many times for the clear understanding about how to use the satellite and also Pandora to detect the data and so upload to the to the international network. It's quite too sensitive for the data. And then the last week after that we make the MOU with the Kweka by Department of Planning and Finance. And the last we also completely install the Pandora. And here is the site that we select the location for install the Pandora. Is the roof of the environmental laboratory. This building is under the Natural Resource and Environment Research Institute that we selected. This is the second site that we survey and report to the NIER because the first one is quite limited of the technical and also the some like the length of the cable. And here, this is we install the installation the Pandora in the roof, and we were supported by the expert from the NIER to install the sensor and also the control box and also the connecting between the sensor and control box and send to the network this network system by Professor Pukyong from the International National Pukyong University. Something if I'm spell miss, I'm so sorry. And here after that, it's so lucky that we meet to Vice Minister, Mr. Chantanet Bulapa, and to report about the result of the how to install the Pandora. And he's mentioned that in Lao PDR need more to the Pandora and to installation in the one is the northern of Laos, and the second one is in the south of Laos, to the cover of the country. And here is the last time we have the handover the meeting for Pandora instruction to be the co-chair by the representative from the Quaker, and also the representative from the Department of Planning and Finance to be the whole the meeting. And this is the weekly that we have to checking and cleaning some the sensor and also and this time is the rain season, so we have to carefully about the rainfall and also the humidity of this. And also this for the future cooperation, surely that as I mentioned that I to discuss with the ESCAP and also the NIR about the continue to the Pakapee project in the 2024. Also there, and I have to report to Vice Minister, and he says agree. And as I mentioned, he need more to Pandora, so to install it in Lao PDR, not more for the air pollution monitoring, but not only the air pollution, but Lao PDR we need more the cooperation more like from the natural resource and environment, and also like to the disaster natural resource and also the climate change activity. And here according out the mandate that use the remote sensing, we have the plan is the one for the use the space technologies like the geodata with to improve the SDG, because this technology can improve the SDG by the use the geospatial data, like in terms of air pollution monitoring. We have the team with to work with the global environmental monitoring system for air and analyze innovation using science and the technology. Yes, and this is the future work project that we have a plan to. But yeah, also is the air pollution is the one of the other project that we write the report and provide to our ministry to is the one of the various the project that we have a plan to do in the for the Lao PDR by choosing the remote sensing and GIS. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Promsivan. It was interesting to see not only how you're using the technologies to identify hotspots, but also how you're working in cooperation with a whole range of partners, such as FAO, to utilize that information to promote better practices in those spots. Now I have the pleasure of passing the floor over to my colleague, Mr. Mushtaq Memon, from the United Nations Environment Program, to continue moderation of the session. Mushtaq, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Garrigan. So now we are moving from the air quality monitoring and sharing the information to the building the national capacity for air quality management. And as this is very urgent issue, as we have seen from all the data, and this is as urgent as like we had a COVID-19 where we were staying home, working, educating, everything from home. So how the national capacity can be built for the air quality management. We have presentations from Philippines, Vietnam, Indonesia, as well as from the famous think tanks like Clean Air Asia and Stockholm Environment Institute. And after that, we will have open discussions and any inputs. So without further delay, let me invite Mr. Jundi Del Socro, Chief Air Quality Management, Department of Environment and Natural Resources, the Philippines, to make his presentation. Sir, over to you.
Good afternoon.
I'm Jundi Del Socorro from the Philippines, from the Environmental Management Bureau Air Quality Management Section. I'll be discussing the building national capacity for air quality management through partnership in the Philippines. But first, let me give you a context on the Philippines on how we assess the air quality and emission sources in the Philippines. We conduct the emissions inventory every 3 years. And from our assessment, it's still the mobile sources or the transport sector that is the major source of air pollution throughout 16 regions in our country. In the current ongoing emission inventory for 2021, there has been a slight decrease for motor vehicles in terms of percentage. However, in terms of total mass emission, it's still increasing because of the number of motor vehicles that are presently in the country. But because of there are new laws on electric vehicles or the EVIDA law, we'll be expecting like 5% mandatory share for electric vehicles throughout the country. And I think that will also address one of the major issues on our country. Also, for stationary sources, we monitor both the large sources and small sources. For large sources, we have established this database wherein all the continuous emissions monitoring system from coal-fired power plants, cement plants, refineries are connected in our regional office and also in 16 regional office, and those are connected to our headquarters, so we can see in real time the emissions of those large sources. However, for medium and small sources, we monitor it through actual stock testing. And for air sources, we have this coordination and monitoring to our airshed governing boards and local government units. In order to assess the air quality and its impacts of the major sources and its hotspots, we maintain 134 air quality monitoring stations, both still using the manual method wherein we still get the samples and bring it to the laboratories, and also the use of technology for continuous ambient air quality monitoring. So we still use high volume samplers and gas analyzers, and also use different technologies such as UVs, chemiluminescence, NDIRs, BAM, TIOM, and OpenPath for monitoring. So here are some analyzers that we use in monitoring both gases and particulate emission, TIOM and BAM for particulates, and UV, chemiluminescence, non-dispersive infrared are used for gases. Through partnership, we're able to expand the air quality monitoring stations from 118, which is being operated by the national government, to additional 16. So we have this project called the ADAPT and Ambient Air Quality Monitoring Stations, wherein through partnership, entities such as commercial and industrial sector are willing to fund the operation, maintenance, calibration of these air quality monitoring throughout the Philippines. To date, we have not yet established monitoring stations for entire highly urbanized cities, component cities, and areas in different airsheds in the country. And I think through partnership, we could monitor or expand, especially the use of geospatial monitoring. Here are the ongoing partnership with our office through the the industry sectors, the NGOs, and other stakeholders. Number one is the development and review of the ambient air quality standards under the Clean Air Act and its guideline values, as long as its air quality index. So the 23 23-year-old law, no, is right now is being reviewed, and in order to come up with a more stringent and tightened standards. Also, this is the same is being conducted with the stationary sources or industrial emission standards. So also, what I've mentioned before is the adopt and ambient air quality monitoring stations, wherein the private sector are willing to extend assistance in funding air quality monitoring stations. Another partnership is the establishment of the data center for industrial emissions monitoring with continuous emissions monitoring system. So through partnership with the industries, we're able to establish data center from the 16 regions of the country and our headquarters. Also, through partnership with the academe, we are also able to conduct technical assistance and capacity building in terms of atmospheric meteorology dispersion modeling and its impact to the air quality to our regional offices. Also, through partnership, we have monitoring the acid rain for the core activities and the non-core activities and expanding more atmospheric pollutants through the acid deposition monitoring network of East Asia. And also in monitoring ambient air quality and rainwater to the Asia Pacific regional monitoring for Asia Pacific Mercury Monitoring Network, or the APMMN. For the partnerships starting next year, we have this collaboration with the United States NASA, or National Space Agency of the US, and it's called the Asia Air Quality Project in order to monitor air quality data in Asian countries through airborne and satellite investigation. And this will be complemented by the PAPGAPI PAN project, or the Pan-Asia Partnership for Geospatial Air Pollution Information Project, using GEO Stationary Environmental Monitoring Spectrometer, or the GEMS. So the NASA will be bringing up NASA airplanes with sophisticated instruments that will complement the stations on of the PAPGAPI, or the GEMS project in the Philippines. And we believe that this will supplement the areas which still don't have air quality monitoring stations through extrapolation of different data throughout the country. Another partnership that will be starting by 2024 is the monitoring and development of total volatile organic compounds, VOCs, and its secondary organic aerosols, or the SOAS. So right now, what we are reviewing in our air quality standards are only limited to benzene, toluene, and xylene. But through partnership with the Asia Pacific Acid Rain Monitoring Network, so we'll be developing and monitoring total VOCs. Another partnership for 2024 is the harmonization and implementation of industrial and transport emission standards and promotion of market-based instruments to reduce air pollution in the region. Another one is the partnership in establishing guidelines for the assessment and the use of low-cost sensors in monitoring particulate matter, primary and secondary gaseous pollutants, and ground-level ozone VOCs, polyaromatic hydrocarbons, and secondary aerosols. And lastly, the partnership for monitoring dust pollen in cooperation with the Philippine Society of Allergy, Asthma, and Immunology. For needs and suggestion for partnership, especially in transboundary regional international partnership, we also recommend the strengthening of the ASEAN regional cooperation on the establishment of a regional data center for monitoring, mitigation, and forecasting transboundary haze from forest and agricultural fires in the satellite, using satellite platforms. I think the GEMS technology will complement this project. And also to monitor, update the ASEAN regional cooperation, implementation, and monitoring the 25 clean air measures for countries in Asia and the Pacific. And also ASEAN cooperation on the assessment of policies regulating second-hand engine economy, and the implementation of vehicle useful life. And lastly, the ASEAN cooperation on the assessment of policies in increasing investment in public and non-motorized transport, or the NMT's infrastructure and systems. So that ends my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Del Sacro. Very important points you raised about that, starting from the emission monitoring to the air quality or ambient monitoring and to the impact monitoring. But the most important part for the national air quality management is the partnerships. As we all know, because of the engaging the stakeholders, raising the resources and so on, partnerships play a key role for the national capacities. Now, let's move to the Vietnam from Philippines. So, Ms. Nguyen An, Northern Center for Environmental Monitoring, delivers her presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anh. I'm come from the Northern Center for Environmental Monitoring under the Pollution Control Department of Vietnam. And first of all, I would like to say thanks, my sincere thanks to the UN, ESCAP, and other partners to organize this commemoration for us can have the choice to the chance to join this commemoration. And on behalf of the Pollution Control Department of Vietnam, I would like to share with you some information about the air quality management in Vietnam. Please, next slide. Yeah. And as you may know, in Vietnam, we have the first law on the environmental protection in 1993. And up to now, after the 30 years from we have the beginning law, until now we achieved a lot of the good result to protect the clean air for the good health. And under the law, we do a lot of the activity to protect the environment in general, and especially the air protection. And to do the control air pollution control activity in Vietnam, the Ministry of the Natural Resources and Environment is the main. We have the main responsible to do the environmental protection activity, but we do not do everything by ourselves. But in Vietnam, we also work with the other ministries. For example, we work with the Ministry of the Agriculture to protect the air pollution, reduce the air pollution from the open burning or forest fire. And we work with the Ministry of the Transportation to reduce and control the air emission from the vehicle, for example. And we work with our local authorities to work together to reduce the air pollution. And not also the government office, we work with the other partners like local NGO, private sector, university, and institutes to join hands for the clean air in Vietnam. And you can see in Vietnam to have the data and know about how is the air quality situation. We do the monitoring and focus on the four economic zones in Vietnam. And we do a lot of the air quality monitoring program with the automatic station and also for the manual. And we focus on the some criteria pollutant like the PM, CO, NOx, SO2, and ozone, and some other parameter like VOC, BTX, and mercury also. And then we collect all the data from the whole country at the national network and provincial network, and we do the public disclosure for the VNAQI, and everybody can know how about the air quality situation in Vietnam. Besides, we do the air emission inventory for from the transport, from the open burning, from the industry, construction, and transboundary. To know what is the major source for the air pollution. And maybe the same in some other Asia Pacific countries. The big problem in Vietnam air quality is the PM 2.5. And we do a lot of the focus on activity focus on the PM 2.5 reduced concentration. And we do the PM 2.5 source apportionment to identify what is the main source to contribute to the PM 2.5 air pollution in Vietnam. And as I mentioned before, the air quality in Vietnam, we save the air quality with the support and cooperate from the other partner, other stakeholder, and a lot of the program and project for the air quality management implement in Vietnam. And until now, we have achieved a very good result. And we participate on the some national, regional, and global network for the air protection. And you can see we are like some other ASEAN Pacific countries, we are joined to the PAN network, and under the support from the COICA, now we prepare to receive the 3 set of the PAN device and installed in Vietnam to have some monitor about the air quality, because we don't have enough the data from the ground level. So that is why we have to use a multi-source data, and we use low-cost sensor, we use the remote sensing and exams data also to have more data about the air quality. And we work with some other partner to have the good success for the cooperation between the country to country to reduce the air pollution in Vietnam. And as we know, the air is we have the same air, same breeze, the air. So we work together to you have to work together to keep the clean air for blue sky, and we will continue enhance the collaboration with other partners, stakeholders, other country, other international and regional organizations to do for the clean air in Vietnam. And I do hope that we can work together for the clean air and clean and blue sky. Yes, and thank you very much. I have a brief introduction about the situation in Vietnam. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. So in addition to the partnerships, Ms. Ann also mentioned about the importance of law or regulations, and also identifying or focusing on the major sources or sectors for air pollution. Now, briefly, for a couple of presentations, we moved to online before returning back to here in the room for another presentation. So first, let me invite online Ms. Dank Kosanova, Program Manager for Climate and Clean Air Coalition from Clean Air Asia for her presentation, please. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mushtaq and colleagues. Just checking if you can hear me.
Yes, very well.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And it's our pleasure to be part of the celebration of the International Day of Clean Air and for Blue Skies. And I'm Dan Casanova, Program Manager of Clean Air Asia. So I'd like to build on the earlier sharing of our esteemed speakers and partners. And in the next few slides, outline or define opportunities for transformative partnerships for clean air in the region, particularly from the lens of a non-government partner. So in 2020, Hopke and other collaborators identified a percent contribution of different sectors to ambient PM concentrations in a global meta-analysis. And this analysis, of course, supported by other country-specific emission inventories and source apportionments, point to the specific emission source sectors that need to be urgently addressed in the region. What these assessments underline is that air pollution in itself is a complex problem, considering the many sectors contributing to it. And further, what this presents us are opportunities for partnerships and collaborations to address the integrated nature of air quality and climate change. Now, where do partnerships come into play? Meaningful partnerships should be based on a commonly defined objective, as well as a coherent, coordinated, and sustained action plan. And to be able to address the wicked problem of air pollution and climate change, partnerships should work on these three key areas, wherein we maximize synergies and minimize trade-offs of policies, programs, and institutional mechanisms. We should balance development priorities and, of course, take into consideration approaches to address cross-sectoral and long-term needs. And in partnerships, especially for air quality management, we need to recognize that this partnership mechanisms should go beyond resource mobilization, but rather work towards joint up decision-making and implementation of sustainable solutions. And coming from an NGO, this is where our value addition to the space comes in, where we facilitate stakeholder engagement as a key component of the work. Of course, we value that stakeholder engagement process fosters learning from different perspectives or lenses, and that, of course, it presents opportunities to address diverse aspirations, and of course, informs the development of coherent, localized, and context-specific solutions. So, since our air quality agenda needs to be ambitious, we need to employ a systems approach and, of course, rally stakeholders around these shared goals. Now, how do partnerships like this apply in strategic air quality management? This framework, we espouse three key components that national governments, together with other stakeholders, need to be supported in. And these are, of course, the development of the knowledge base, the formulation of the solutions, and the definition of the mechanisms to realize the solutions. Wherein the process, of course, begins with identifying the levels of pollution through the different air quality monitoring initiatives and activities which we heard from the previous presentations. And from there, also identifying the key sources of pollutions, assessing the impacts, and then using this knowledge to formulate the solutions in different levels. So this can be national, policies and frameworks. This can be local level or subnational level programs and measures. And of course, we need to also consider the impact that individual and community level actions could have. Now, the mechanisms which will support and sustain the implementation of these solutions then need to be operationalized, such as financing and governance. So in this continuum, it's important to bring in together diverse resources to build the capacity of national governments and of course leverage the respective capacities of each member of the partnership. So for example, in developing the knowledge base and the formulation of solutions, we can harness the role of governments, which of course can exercise strategic leadership and employ the governance mechanisms to effectively influence institutional practice and decision-making to strengthen air quality management efforts. We can also tap, of course, civil society and NGOs who can mobilize networks, provide technical and management assistance, and of course, provide guidance to national governments in the formulations of action plans. Academia, as what has been highlighted earlier, can bring in science and innovation, develop new research, and provide more evidence, instrumental in ensuring the effectiveness and robustness of air quality management strategies. Of course, partnerships with private sector can redirect and leverage resources to target to deliver targets on air quality improvements. And may we not forget, of course, the involvement of communities who are the most vulnerable and are disproportionately impacted by air pollution to ensure that the solutions that we put together and implement respond to what they really need in terms of local context. So just sharing a concrete study, a case study, wherein the power of stakeholder engagement, not just from building the knowledge base for air quality management, but rather really focusing on and harnessing government leadership, multi-stakeholder engagement, and building the capacity of key actors, especially from national government, on the use of tools to formulate mitigation scenarios and policy recommendations for targeted and integrated action on clean air and climate change. So we've worked with the Stockholm Environment Institute with support from the Climate and Clean Air Coalition in coming up with an integrated assessment of SLCPs and air pollution for mainstreaming in Pakistan's air quality plans and programs, wherein we were able to train at least 50 representatives from the ministries and, of course, tap the potential of different actors from academia and also other data holders to come up with baseline scenarios or emission inventories to inform the quantification and assessment of mitigation potential of comprehensive suite of measures. So in the process, of course, coming up with a diverse and comprehensive list of mitigation measures covering different sectors, employed stakeholder engagement, and I'd say capacity building through practicing analysis, actual processing of data. And we were able to do this by forming a core technical working group, ensuring that they are apprised or they are aware of not only the technical process of putting together the assessment, but also highlighting the benefits of these assessments in long-term policy and decision making. So what we have achieved at the end of the project, we were able to quantify emission reductions vis-a-vis the policy recommendations. And of course, we are fortunate to have continued support from the CCAC to go into more detailed subnational clean air action plan development for 4 cities now, or 4 provinces in Pakistan. So lastly, I want to highlight this slide that, of course, partnerships for air quality management have this overall goal of making sure that governments are enabled with the technical policy and management advice and guidance that they would need in order to mobilize actors, maybe government or non-government, but also maximize, of course, the co-benefits of implementing actions that are proven not only to contribute to environmental goals, but to overall development goals. And I'd also like to highlight, of course, that stakeholder engagement would really ensure that the solutions we are employing are really country-led and context-specific, and would, of course, maximize the use of and mobilization of diverse resources to achieve, of course, scaled impact and sustainability for everyone. So lastly, I'd like to provide more information about the Better Air Quality Conference as a follow-up to the different regional and international initiatives, rounding up and rallying support from stakeholders around the region for better air quality. So for more information, you may contact us through the email provided. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Casanova. So you added further the keywords like a collaboration and strategic framework for air quality management at national and subnational level. So we are adding up all this to build better national capacities. And now we also touching upon on the science policy interface for the national capacities. And for that, we have two presentations. So first one, let me invite Ms. Erina Sri Adinigis, she's from Indonesia. So let me invite her. She's from Indonesian Space Agency, INASA. Over to you.
Thank you, Chair. Can my voice heard clearly?
Yes, yes, it's very good.
Yes, thank you. Distinguished delegates and participants, good afternoon. I will. Can I? Okay. Yes. Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank for the opportunity in this event to share with our experience in the related to the air quality monitoring and how we move forward from the science to policy. My name is Erina Sri Adiningsih. I'm now the Executive Director of Indonesian Space Agencies under National Research and Innovation Agency. First, let me begin with the current situations related to the air quality in Indonesia. Next, please. Particularly in Jakarta and its surrounding, which is currently under bad air quality conditions. As you may see, during last August 2023, the air quality index over Jakarta is around 156, and it is categorized as not healthy, while the PM 2.5 concentrations reach more than 13 times above the WHO standard. And the question arises from these situations is what and where the main sources of the pollutants, how is the dispersions, how long it will last, and what specific actions needed to combat it. And to answer these questions, we need scientific evidence or data and analysis before further defining appropriate and policy actions to reduce air pollution, as well as creating clean air in the long run. Next, I will show an example how the government of Indonesia has established an integrated air quality monitoring system consisting of ground-based and space-based systems. The system is operated by the Ministry of Environment and Forestry and supported by the Peatland Management Agency, the Meteorological Office, and BRIN. This figure shows that the air quality index is classified into good, moderate, unhealthy, very unhealthy and severely unhealthy. And this monitoring system provides daily information about air quality and is supported by various institutions or agencies, including the Ministry of Environment, Meteorological Office, and Green. Such integrated monitoring system needs sustainable data and support in a timely and sustainable manner from various stakeholders. And next, this is also another example in which the weather data from the Meteorological Office could be superimposed with the air quality data to provide information related to the risk of pollutant dispersions. In the PAN and GEMS projects initiated and supported by the government of the Republic of Korea and ESCAP. This project could be beneficial in improving or enhancing the existing systems or platforms to continuously provide air quality data in the regions. With such a system, we could come up with an effort how to provide good solutions and recommend the policy actions. Next, based on our experiences, I would like to share some thoughts on how we could bridge between science and policy in dealing with the air quality issues. At the regional level, there are challenges. For example, particularly in the Southeast Asia, as the region having a growing economy, and some big cities in the regions are among the most polluted cities in the world. There are also increasing awareness and needs in establishing an integrated air quality monitoring system. And it is within the science and policy. The system should not only integrated, but also comprehensive and multi-stakeholder involvement, comprising all possible activities such as science and technology, capacity building, air quality monitoring, space applications, to provide all aspects to the policy to define appropriate actions to address the air quality issues. Next, in conclusion, I would like to highlight that air quality issues should be addressed through comprehensive approaches by involving all stakeholders, and capacity building of all related stakeholders is also another concern for appropriate and effective policy actions. Integrated system should be established by harnessing the ground-based and space-based observations efforts. And last but not least, as the nature of the air pollutions could be transboundary, the regional cooperation is important and needs to be existing systems and capacity for better understandings and actions. However, we also do hope that the regional collaborative activities such we have conducted under PAN, Asia, and GEMS pilots could be continued in the future, not just project-based, but also for operational purposes in the long run. Thank you so much for your kind attention.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ms. Arina Siri. And as we also got now additional keywords that advancement in science can really help when we have an integrated system and involving or engaging the stakeholders. Now we are moving to our last but not the least from very famous Stockholm Environment Institute. We have Ms. Dana Archer, Senior Research Fellow. So over to you, Dana.
Thank you very much, Mushtaq, and thank you for inviting me here today. So I work at the Stockholm Environment Institute in the Asia office, which is based here in Bangkok, and we do research on various issues related to sustainable development in the region. And today I'll be talking about some research partnerships towards clean air for all in the region, and highlighting some 3 research projects that we've been involved in that I think are relevant today. So Dang actually mentioned a research project that is very similar to this one, but for Pakistan. And actually, there was a very similar collaboration in Thailand involving SEI, IGES, the Pollution Control Department for Thailand, and the Climate and Clean Air Coalition, which was looking at national action and planning on short-lived climate pollutants to co-benefit both climate change and air quality. And I think this was a great initiative because it really was a very strong partnership between the 4 organizations involved. And the Pollution Control Department of Thailand played a key role in helping to gather the necessary data to run the relevant models. So the goal of the project was to estimate historic emissions of pollutants, greenhouse gases, and short-lived climate pollutants, but also to create future projections of emissions and to evaluate the potential of different key measures to reduce emissions over long term, and to quantify the health benefits of these mitigation pathways. So the first key task was to develop an integrated greenhouse gas pollutant and SLCP inventory, and to assess the emissions reduction potential across these. And secondly, to assess and recommend policy and institutional changes to implement these mitigation measures. So we have here, for example, an example of how to mitigate PM 2.5 emissions in Thailand. And the scenarios show that if we were to implement agricultural measures like zero burning, manure management, waste measures like landfill gas capture, recycling, and composting, energy measures like implementing renewables and improving charcoal and LPG stoves and transitioning away from LPG stoves. And finally, transport measures like Euro 5 and Euro 6 standards and transferring to electric vehicles. These are the sorts of avoided pollutants, the white boxes that avoided PM 2.5 that we can achieve in Thailand. So this is just one example of the type of modeling that was done. And the report also led to a package of recommendations for Thailand in order to be able to achieve this possible emissions reduction pathway. So firstly, the importance of integrating air pollution and climate change planning together to achieve the co-benefits. For example, by integrating co-benefit measures in the NDCs for the country. So for example, around open burning or energy transitions, this is useful not just for improving air quality, but also for achieving climate change goals. It's also really important to strengthen the overall institutional environment to avoid any delays in implementation. So, for example, some measures that could be applied are tax incentives or boosting enforcement and oversight of implementation. And, for example, reallocating subsidies to, for example, target open burning. And then also, a really important aspect is to form a task force for integration and co-benefits to increase coordination between different agencies. And it's proposed, for example, to have a technical group which deals with the data and modeling and reporting. And secondly, a policy group that can do the public consultations and look at fostering an enabling environment. So this is just one example of a successful partnership between research organizations and a government institution here in Thailand to identify pathways forward. Second example is a couple of research projects I've been working on looking at highlighting inequities and finding solutions to air pollution exposure and really highlighting the fact that exposure is unequal. I think this has been mentioned by a couple of speakers previously, and not everyone is impacted in the same way. And this diagram came from a project we actually did with Mushtaq's team at UNEP, where we looked at some of the gender aspects of air pollution exposure. And one, clearly, there are a number of factors that will contribute to differentiated risk and exposure. For example, personal health factors or your age, also socioeconomic factors, which will determine what kind of job you have and what kind of means you have to protect yourself at your home and at your workplace. And then exposure factors, for example, if you work in a coal mine, obviously your exposure to air pollution will be very high, but more pertinently, for example, to Thailand, if you work as a tuk-tuk driver, motorbike taxi driver, you're on the road, on the streets all day, breathing in lots of fumes. We also did a project where we basically asked people who work outside to carry around a small portable PM 2.5 sensor. This was a project done in collaboration with Chulalongkorn University, and we asked people to carry around the sensor for about 24 hours along with a GPS sensor. So we could try and see how their levels of exposure varied throughout the day, but also based on where they were located. And this is a grid of the Pathumwan district in Bangkok. You can see Lumpini Park in the bottom right-hand corner and the Royal Bangkok Sports Club. And the left-hand map is morning readings from 6 to 12, and the afternoon, the right-hand map is afternoon readings, I think from 5 to 8 p.m. And as you can see, PM 2.5 levels are recorded were fairly high. The Thailand 24-hour standards are 37.5 micrograms per meter cubed. And as you can see from the colors, most of it was 37 or above in many places, but the places that had the better air quality were actually within the Chulalongkorn University campus, which is actually quite green and has a lot of trees, but also less traffic compared to narrow streets. And this is some of the data from exposure of different sectors of employment. So again, we can see, for example, the motorbike taxi drivers, their exposure for much of the day, especially the earlier half of the day, is like above 50 micrograms, and then it gradually decreases throughout the day, but it still remains fairly high and still tends to exceed the daily recommended exposure levels. This was especially the case for the security guards, and then the store employees as well. We saw quite high levels of exposure. I should note that this was quite experimental. We haven't, there were some small issues with the monitoring and some gaps in the data, but I think it gives the general picture, and I think it highlights as well the potential there is for gathering data in collaboration with the local population and raising their awareness of key issues at the same time. And my final slide is just to highlight the importance of integrating gender in data and policy making. And by gender, we don't just mean women, but also considering people of different socioeconomic groups, sex, age, ethnicity, migrant status as well. These are all important factors when we're considering air pollution exposure and impacts. And so this really needs to be considered in the statistical data collection as well. And in this report, which we produced with UNEP, we highlighted that the UN Women had a model questionnaire with over 100 indicators on gender and the environment, which could be adapted specifically for this issue as well. Again, we highlight the importance of involving different stakeholder groups in the data collection. And so like in the previous slide, you can involve local populations, you can involve local community leaders, as well of course as bring in the private sector, who as employers have a really important role to protect their employees from air pollution exposure and to provide a healthy working environment as well. So we should be looking for actions that only have co-benefits rather than actions that might worsen any social inequalities. And finally, regional cooperation in disaggregated gender data collection is a really important part of effective monitoring and evaluation of implementation of air pollution measures across the region. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And you further brought the co-benefits, SLCPs, and especially linking the socioeconomic aspects with the health and differentiated impacts require, having the need for the gender in the policy. So at that note, now we have finished all the presentations. So big hand to all the presenters for today. And so now we have less than 10 minutes for some inputs or questions from the floor or online. So it's open, floor is open, please. Okay, I recognize India. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Excellencies, distinguished colleagues. At the outset, I would like to extend our sincere appreciation to the Embassy of the Republic of Korea and ESCAP and UNEP for organizing this event and bringing our focus back on the important issue of the urgency and complexity of the challenges of tackling air pollution. With your permission, Mr. Chair, I would like to share India's experience very briefly on this issue. Air pollution is indeed one of the gravest environmental risk factors globally for human health and the ecosystem. And the transboundary nature and the complex nature of this problem requires collective and coordinated action. We need concerted efforts to reach across borders, connect sectors, break the silos for sustainable and affordable air quality management solutions. We thank all the experts today for their illuminating presentation, underlining the spirit of collective action. All our efforts at individual levels, no matter how small, count towards ensuring cleaner and healthier future for all. It is heartening to note that several of the experts and representatives from other stakeholders have echoed similar sentiments. So acknowledging the complexity and urgency of the problem, Government of India has launched National Clean Air Program to improve ambient air quality, especially in the urban areas. Under this program, our target is to reduce by 20 to 30% of critical air pollutants by 2024. We have identified the cities, and several cities have since benefited with significant improvement of air quality under this program. The emphasis is being given towards controlling vehicular emissions, extending mass rapid transport networks, faster adoption of electric vehicles, more stringent measures for controlling industrial emissions, expanding access to clean cooking, and tackling air pollution caused by dust and burning waste. We have adopted an integrated approach to address climate change and air pollution, which has also been emphasized by several other speakers today. And India's commitment towards scaling up climate action is embodied in 5-point agenda that includes our target for reaching 500 gigawatt of non-fossil fuel energy capacity, meeting 50% of the energy requirements through renewable energy, reducing significantly carbon emissions and reducing carbon intensity of the economy by 2030, and also our target to reach net zero emissions by 2070. To achieve these targets, we are already undertaking some transformational initiatives in renewable energy, e-mobility, biofuels, green hydrogen, etc. And all of these climate actions definitely bring significant co-benefits for reducing air pollution and air quality improvement and management. And we have also partnered with other countries to launch the International Solar Alliance, which is a collaborative platform to facilitate realizing the full potential of solar energy and energy transition. At the COP26 summit, India has called for a global push to adopt a sustainable lifestyle. This has been further strengthened with the launch of the Lifestyle for Environment movement last year, and the initiative seeks to foster climate-friendly behavior choices among individuals, communities, and organizations. So reducing air pollution and air quality management indeed is an ongoing process. Our experiences demonstrate that this is possible when there is strong commitment as well as well-targeted and cost-effective plans in place for collective actions. Our discussion today indeed shows that we are on the right track towards building stronger partnerships across Asia Pacific, which will shape cleaner and healthier future for all. With this optimistic note, I would like to conclude my remarks and thanks everyone for their time and attention.
Thank you very much, and highly appreciating all the efforts and congratulating on the G20 leadership and including the program LIFE you mentioned, which was launched by the Honorable Prime Minister with the United Nations. Thank you. Any other? Yes, please. If anyone online, my colleagues can also help me recognize. Yeah, over to you.
Thank you, Chair. Speaking on behalf of the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies and our 191 member societies, thank you for inviting us to the commemoration of the 4th International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies. We are all suffering the effects of our health, effects on our health from both extreme heat and air pollution. However, this is yet again particularly impacting the most vulnerable in our communities, underlying profound and persistent inequalities that we are all aware of, as one of the last speakers also talked about. The health effects of air pollution and extreme heat also puts a burden on health systems because of the long-term effects of poor air quality on humans. We need to work with you as government representatives, ESCAP, other stakeholders to reduce air pollution, but simultaneously work on mitigating the effects on health, particularly for the most vulnerable people. We need to focus our actions at the local level to prevent and reduce the health impacts for the most vulnerable people. Local actors, including Red Cross and Red Crescent societies and our 7 million volunteer in Asia Pacific, are key to reaching the communities and need to be included in this process. They should be particularly used as actors to communicate the risk of air pollution to communities who reach the most vulnerable ones, who often are not aware of the health impacts. And I think this was touched on by the youth statements as well, around the role of youth in connecting to people. An important part of our work lies in preparedness for disasters. Air pollution in our region is currently a relatively predictable, annually recurring matter. I'm happy to share with you that we are working with the Red Cross and Red Crescent Climate Centre and the Thai Red Cross Society on a pilot which includes research on the compounding effects of heat, humidity and air pollution on health, and the development of an early action protocol to inform communities of the negative health impacts of air pollution, particularly on vulnerable groups such as infants, pregnant women, elderly, and those with certain pre-existing health conditions. It also aims at providing mitigation advice and tools to these communities to protect their health, hoping it can be a pilot to be replicated in other countries in the region. Air pollution is a regional problem affecting the environment and health, and we are committed to working with all of you to reduce the problem and the impacts on people. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So health is one of the key areas connected with the air quality, and as we say, that is about the care and cure together. So let's work together. Any other? Okay, as we are on time, so let me, without further delay, invite Mr. Sangmin Nam from ESCAP for the closing remarks. Sir.
Thank you for your participation, and I'm very grateful to all the speakers, 8 speakers this afternoon. And the keyword today is partnership. So to tackle these mounting challenges, we need a speed and scale of action. And this requires a partnership for developing knowledge base and implementing solutions. I'm borrowing words from our colleague of Clean Air Asia. And also we need to jointly harness knowledge, technical expertise, and resources and take a collective and coordinate action, as highlighted by Ms. Paulomi Tripathi, new Deputy Permanent Representative of India. Also, as confirmed by many of our experts, to manage the situation, we have to measure the problem. In this regard, we are very pleased to support the countries to be better equipped with remote sensing data and their capacity for utilizing the data for policy action. So with that, I look forward to continuing to work with you, and our event for commemorating this year, International Day of Clean Air for Blue Sky, is closed. And I thanks everyone for their participation today. Those students, you may take a photo if you wish. We will keep the screen on.